Flights are pricey, planning feels chaotic, and that family trip keeps getting pushed. I hear it every day from business owners and busy professionals, and I felt it too. I'm Ross, the founder of Itinerary Boss and your host. After 10 plus years of planning work and personal trips to over 20 countries, I became the guy who found the deals and turned points into upgrades. This show helps you turn everyday business and personal spend into points and miles for premium travel. Each week, you'll get step by step tactics and short episodes, plus expert guests with specific use cases tied to your most asked questions for travel plans that'll help support your business, goals, and your life. Go ahead and grab the free points and miles cheat sheet in the show notes to speed up your learning. And now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy. On this week's episode, I'm excited to have Ali Raja. He is the miles and points guru. He's bringing you a ton of experience. I got the chance to meet him out at FinCon at a points and miles meetup. And after I heard just all the different strategies he had, 20 years of doing this, I thought I had to bring him on because he's going to share so much value with you all today. Hey, Ali, how's it going today?
Good, Ross. Thank you for having me here.
Of course, of course. And yeah, I'm excited. I know we were talking before this, we could have a 3 hour episode if we dove into all the different strategies that you've accumulated, your knowledge. But I wanted to dive deeper into Hyatt because that is something that are passionate about. You have just so many different strategies, but I think it's a for people just getting into the points and miles space, it's a little bit of an unhidden gem. I think everyone thinks of Marriott, Hilton, business travelers, but Hyatt is that sweet spot that if you aren't taking advantage of it, you're missing out. So would love,
Absolutely.
yeah, would love to hear from you. You've been doing it for a while, right? Why
Yes.
Hyatt and what makes it stand out for you?
Um, when I started doing the hotel thing, I started looking into value. And then I did Hilton, I did Marriott, but when it came down to Hyatt, Hyatt stands out because it's built on value. Its consistency, the loyalty, that actually means something for me because when I go somewhere, I'm looking for that kind of service. Like, when you go there, they appreciate you being. I've been a globalist for many years, so it takes that effort. When you get there, they welcome you, they appreciate you, who you are. That kind of welcoming vibe that I'm looking for. It's there in Hyatt. Unlike other hotel programs, like the elite statuses feels like watered down. Like I could be a gold on Hilton, but still did not get recognized when I go and check in and all that. So that's what really brings the value to it. And guaranteed suite upgrades, I tend to usually kind of email ahead of time the managers, and that's where I get those suite upgrades in place. So when I go, I know what my expectations are, and the manager knows the same thing, and it becomes very easy for me to go ahead and get those upgrades. We get free breakfast, waived resort fees. Some resort fees are all the way up to $150. Like in San Diego, just last weekend, it was like almost over $100, and we got that credit back. So those are some of the perks. It's the Hyatt that treats you as a guest and keeps you loyal, and that's something I like to stick with.
Yeah, no, I love that. What is just for people who, they're new to the show, they're newer into the points and miles space, what is a globalist?
Globalist is the top tier Hyatt status. You have to have at least 60 nights completed by December 31st to achieve that status. And there are other ways that we can talk about it and how to get those 60 stays. It may seem a lot, but if you're traveling, like if you were to just do 5 nights per month, that's 60, in the year. But people do tend to travel even more. Some folks that I know, they go over past 100 in a year. So
Yeah, I think I missed out when I was traveling for work and I was getting more into it, Marriott and Hilton, because that's where people who are older than me, had been who'd been road warriors forever, were so loyal to Marriott and Hilton. So it was drilled into my head from the beginning, I opened both, which I'm glad I did because it earned me 3 free nights in Munich and Berlin, but I wasn't using Hyatt because they were at a very surface level. So that's
yes.
something I missed out on. But what do you feel like, I don't want to say, hey, here's my knowledge, like for business travelers, right? Like what are they missing out on by not utilizing Hyatt in their strategy?
Um, the true value is the point value. Hyatt's often redeem points at 1.8 and 2.5 cents each, while Marriott and Hilton are closer to zero point 0.5. So it's really comes down to those point values and how much do you value your points that you have. People must have seen those when you're redeeming like Hilton points. Like if you're booking a room, it could cost you 90,000 points, just to redeem one night compared to Hyatt when you're staying at the top tier status, that's like 25,000, no more than 45. I've seen those rooms that are going for $1,500 a night at Hyatt. I actually just booked a most recent one, which is at the Grand Hyatt in Tokyo. Surprisingly, the room rates are going for like $1,450. And I booked it with just 45,000 points. So that's where the value is with the Hyatt points compared to the Hilton and Marriott.
Yeah, it hurts me when I look back and think, man, I missed out because I was traveling like probably 10, yeah, 10 or so nights a month. So I could have been racking those up. I'm glad I wasn't just not signing up, but the Hyatt is huge. And I love the fact, right, Tokyo, that's one that a lot of people want to stay at. So that's awesome that you found award availability, you're able to stay there. But yeah, I mean, just some of the top tier ones. I get a lot of questions from people of, well, when people are just getting into, this hobby, or they're trying to figure out, okay, I'm a business owner and I spend a lot and I want to stay, but is it free hotels, or am I like going to have to go to a timeshare presentation where, right, I'm going to have to work for my hotels? But no, you're really getting luxury stays. And yeah, when we went to Bali, the Alila collection is amazing. And like,
Yeah,
those were 20,000 points per night. Some of them were 40, but like the cash price on it is 700 to 1,000 bucks. And
easily.
and the properties are amazing. I mean, some of them are, I think a lot of people will think of sometimes Hyatt Places where that's what they think of Hyatt, but they aren't realizing some of the Park Hyatts, right? Some of the Alila, some of the more luxury brands where it's a lot more expensive.
Yes, totally agree with you.
What are there any, they just rolled out award availability and pricing updates. Could you kind of break that down? And the reason I want to talk about that is a lot of people talk about, oh, I'm just holding my points for a big trip in 5 years. Like talk through, help me understand a little bit about with those points devaluing over time, like how does that play into what Hyatt's recently done with their award availability and charts?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things is that I know they devalue like pretty much all when you're in the travel industry, everything tends to devalue every year. So my one thing to say is don't hoard the points. Just earn and burn kind of thing. That's the kind of you want to stick to. Hyatt has the fixed award charts. You know what you're getting. Um, Globalist benefit also delivers value, confirm upgrades. So certain things like if you know that you have the globalist status, you can redeem those. The upgrades also last within those. You have a time frame that when you earn those, you know when you need to redeem them. So make sure
Hey,
you
I
keep
wanted to
track of
take a
those.
quick break to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. The only way the show grows is through listeners like you helping us share it. So if you're enjoying the show, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that 5-star rating, shared it with a friend or family member who's ready to travel more, save money, or just needs a little bit more inspiration and that nudge. And if you're posting about it on Instagram, go ahead and tag Itinerary Boss, and we'll make sure to reshare it and shout you out for giving us a shout out. Thanks so much for the support. It truly means a lot. And now back with the show.
So make sure you keep track of those dates. Do not forget about those dates. Like it's ultimate rewards. Let's see, ultimate rewards points. It's a simple way to transfer points. So make sure that you're earning those points throughout. Don't transfer points before finalizing your whole reservation as to what you want to book for, and then you want to transfer because when your points are sitting at the chase, for instance, where you transfer majority of the points, you want to hold on to those points until you confirm those reservations and then you transfer. So keeping points under one umbrella is not a something I would recommend.
Is no, you bring up a great point. Transfer partners. A lot of people when they get into the space, the biggest mistakes I see with whether it's clients or just friends or people who reach out to me is, oh yeah, I just use it towards my statement credit, or I book through the portal, or I get it for gift cards, or all the mistakes that we all made when we first started. But the real value is transfer partners and transferring points. Who transfers to Hyatt, right? What do you like using transferable points for, like within Hyatt? And kind of talk to me about your strategy there.
Yeah. So dynamic pricing and but its hybrid model still protects the value. The new system makes the off peak cheaper while maintaining the caps on those off peak hours. That means like savvy travelers can usually find sweet spots, especially on aspirational resorts. Like we're talking about, like you mentioned, Alila. I've been to at Maryville as well, in Austin and Arizona as well. So there's some good things over there that you can kind of also focus.
Okay. And then for like Chase and Built, do you accumulate those? Do you use your Chase points for specifically Hyatt? I know some people do that, or some people say, "Hey, I accumulate Hyatt points through just staying nights." Like because a lot of people when they're getting started out don't realize the value of those transferable points.
Yes. Um, I mainly use my Hyatt points for Chase. There only been certain instances I use it for something else because I value my being a globalist. I mainly like to stay at Hyatts only, unless there are certain places where Hyatt falls short, and then there's no Hyatt. Like for instance, I would give you an example. When we go to Vancouver, there's only one Hyatt there, and if that Hyatt is fully booked and there is no rooms there that I'm looking, because I'm very picky when it comes to rooms. I need certain location, the view, and all that. If it's not there, then I might look for elsewhere. But Hyatt has always been my number one option, regardless. So for me, those chase points are truly just for Hyatt. So whatever I earn, it goes straight to Hyatt. Belt points, yes, that's another good option. There's a lot of changes coming next year, so it's going to get even greater value. Um, I mean, yeah, even build points. I think the last redemption that I did was to Hyatt. So it's just that it's just hard for me to transfer to any other hotel programs other than the Hyatt. So it's like I feel like I'm not going to get that value that I'm looking for.
100%. And I think one challenge that people face a lot of the times is they go, "Hey, I don't like people who hoard points. They're like, I don't want to make a mistake." And then they say, "Oh, I think I made the mistake and I used my 100K, Chase welcome offer and transferred it to Marriott." So it's
Yeah.
always thinking, right? Like it's thinking through, and that's how I like to think of it. Unless I know that we have to fly on United and that's the only option and we can find good business award availability, I agreed. I use my Chase points for Hyatt. And then built points, if you're a renter, that's another good way. And like you said, there's a lot of new changes coming, which I'm personally excited for because we invest in real estate and have been a homeowner. So like, haven't you been able to use at least the built card for rent? So that, along with some of the Rakuten stuff that's coming, that has me excited to start to earn more Hyatt points.
Yes. Yes. I know. I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah.
What are there specific properties? Because I want to focus in on people who are just getting started, right? Just if they're new to Hyatt, are there best strategies for specific types of properties, whether it's Hyatt Place, Park Hyatt, any of those that you recommend for people to, just start playing with?
Um, if you're within the US, I know a lot of people sometimes, especially during the holidays, they want to focus on some like all-inclusive resorts and all that. Um, Most of the time, people think in their head is, "Oh yeah, we got to go to Mexico. Let's enjoy the all-inclusive resorts there." But there are resorts here, which is known as Alila Ventana Big Sur, which is actually, luckily, I happen to be in California and I'm only like, a few hours away from it. So we tend to go there at least at the beginning of the year, and towards like the end of the year, not right close to the new year, but around right past Thanksgiving. But finding availability is very hard on those. You just have to plan it a year in advance. Because the rooms range anywhere from $2,500 to like almost $7,000. Just depends on the room type. You want to it used to be 30,000 points, but now it's jumped down to 45 because of the devaluation. But again, what with the points, if you look at it in the other from the other side, like compared to if your room you're paying for like almost 5 grand, 45,000 high points is not that bad, the value redemption. So those are the things you definitely want to look. We just tend to do it almost a year. Like if I'm planning for my next November trip, then I'll be looking for it now. But you got to keep checking constantly on the app. But now they also have something called like the points calendar. So that's a new feature, which is really good. It actually gives you the whole breakdown. And if you go in the Hyatt app and you select different months, it'll show you when and where those points availability are. And as soon as you see those 45,000 points, you want to book it because we wait an hour, it's gone. It's that quick that it disappears. We have also stayed at the lake at the Hyatt in Hyatt Regency Lake Washington. That's a really good property if you happen to be in Seattle. Family friendly. It's right next to the Boeings. You can get to see some planes out there. Nice lake view. You can take a helicopter ride, or you can take a boat ride into that lake. It's really nice. Like we tend to go there quite often, at least 2 to 3 times a year.
That's awesome. Now, those are I've heard a lot of good things about the Alila Big Sur, and yeah, it's I that's after going to the Alilas in Bali, it's like my wife is wanting to go to that one. She's like, "All right, it's in Alila. We know it's awesome." So
It's worth it.
yeah, but I think it goes down to planning. That's a
Yes.
big thing in the points and not in the points and miles, just travel space. I think that's where a lot of people will either think, oh, points don't work, travel's too expensive. I'm just going to go to the same place. And it really just comes down to planning. That's something that I've always, people we used to joke is like, you have to plan ahead. And when you're planning, whether it's work travel, whether it's travel with friends, like you said, if you already know this is how it's going to happen, and the new Hyatt calendar has been awesome. Like that has been a game changer, just being able to look and be like, okay, if you're trying to plan a trip and you aren't set the dates and there might not be availability on the specific time you want, being able to say, oh, the week before looks good and there's availability, let's just go then. That's been amazing, just especially for people who are, just getting started. What are your thoughts on co-branded credit cards? Because some people don't want to have a lot, right? They want to have maybe one or two. So for maybe someone who has a, Capital One Venture X, a Chase Preferred, and they're like, maybe I want to dip my toes in co-branded credit cards. I'd love to get your thoughts on those.
Usually I don't recommend, especially when it comes to like airline cards, but for this particular height ones, it's a little bit different. If you were to get the personal card, you're guaranteed 5 nights, elite night credits towards your status, which is really good. Just by having a card, you have those. They also come with other perks I've noticed, where they'll give you a 5x for dining. 5x. So it's just part of the Chase offers that they'll just target you. They'll send you an email. Hey, use your card for dining and you can get 5x. Use your card for groceries, you can get 5x. That's where the value adds up for the Hyatt because you're earning those Hyatt points because you value them deeply. You want to make sure that you get great stays throughout the year. This is a card to have. Um, Second, they also have introduced a business card. Now, business card is a little different. It does come. Well, let me go back a little bit, saying that the annual fee for the personal card was $95, but the business card is $199. Now, business card is more focused towards, I would say, high spenders because it doesn't come with elite night credits. But if you were to spend $10,000 or more, then you get the 5 elite night credits, and that is every $10,000 spent. That means if you're spending 20,000 one month, then you're getting those 10 elite night credits. So that's where the card becomes even more valuable. Like, it's like, okay, this card is even better than the personal card because this one has no limit. So if you have a high spend, that you know that you're going to have this one spent every month or even throughout the year, you have to make sure that you get the Hyatt business card first.
Yeah.
The point earnings are the still same. You get if you're a globalist, you get 5x, but then if you hold the card, you get the 4x. So for me, being a globalist plus the card holder, I'm earning 9x at every hotel stay that I go to. So whatever I'm spending, everything gets billed to the room, and I'm earning 9x on those. So that's something that everyone should keep in mind, that if you are using your Hyatt cards, make sure everything gets billed to the room. Everything, even the marketplace, restaurants, anything that's possible to bill it to the room, that's what you want to do
Yeah, no,
to
that's a
get
great
those points.
strategy. I mean, that's something we got married this past March, and we knew we were staying at a bunch of Hyatts when we went over to Bali and Thailand. And my wife, we had wedding expenses where to hit the welcome bonus at an elevated offer, we grabbed it, got the points, got the elite nights, and then also, like you said, everything there was earning 9x points on every dollar spent. So we're just getting everything billed. So like that's how we were just able to build those up. And then anytime we stay at a Hyatt, we just use that card. And that's our strategy. We don't really, unless there's targeted offers, like you said, on the personal side, we'll use other cards. But for my business next year, as we start to spend more, like I'm looking at the Hyatt card because I value those Hyatt points, right? And I already have so many Chase points, Capital One points from others. So that's kind of how the strategy, as you start to get more and more into it, that's where you then can start to utilize different cards to bake that out. And then there's even more good stuff just around status matching. And I know for you and I'm in Charlotte, you're in LA, right? Hyatt and American, being able to status match there. Can you kind of give me a rundown of what is status matching and then why is it so valuable for Hyatt and American, for people in American hubs and people who fly American?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the key thing is that make sure you're living in that where the American hub is. Hyatt has had long-term partnership with Hyatt for a while, but things have again there has been devaluation, so it's not as good as it used to be. But still, if you have gold and above with American, again, people can earn different ways on those statuses. You can first of all, you just want to link your accounts, regardless whether you have a status on American or Hyatt or not. At least link it down. The process is very simple. You just go online and enter the information there. Um, Once you hit the gold with American, you start earning points. So they kind of go vice versa. That the stays that you are in Hyatt, you're earning points on American, and if you're flying American, you're earning points on Hyatt. So they kind of correlate a little bit, but you have to have a status on both before you can do that. So that's where the American hub comes very crucial, that you have to be flying American to have at least the minimum status first. If you're doing through credit card spend, then that's a different thing with American Airlines credit card. But you have to have that. It's perfect for fast tracking status on both sides. So that's where it helps. So if you have it, then you can kind of move up. Hyatt also has those options. Once you hit 70 plus nights, you have the options to use it for seat upgrade or gold status for the 24 hours or 48 hours. Those are not as valuable, but if you go higher on Hyatt, I've seen that they give you like a gold status for the whole year. But again, you got to hit that 80, 90 mark on the Hyatt to get that status. So that's where I think it's more valuable when you have those things linked, and then you're just connecting them together. So I'm actually currently working on getting the platinum status with American because I don't have a status with American. So I'm trying to get that at least 100 nights on Hyatt so that I can get the platinum status with American for the rest of the year. So it may not be much, even if it's 2 months, but if I'm traveling anywhere, at least I have that status there
Yep.
to use
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. No, I appreciate that breakdown.
Yeah.
It's always, I think the first step is linking those accounts. That's and,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's where when people are getting into it, it's just like open a free, like all the loyalty accounts are free. Open them, link
Yes.
them, and even if you're not traveling a ton, things may change, right? And over time, then you don't have to worry about it. And that's where people sometimes miss out. They travel to like, oh, well, I don't, my company pays for it. I don't pay for it. And then they miss out on years of it. So if you're at an American hub, if you like to stay in Hyatts, if you don't like to stay in Hyatts, you should start staying in Hyatts. But if you're at the American hub, link those together, and you'll, in a couple of years, you'll probably thank us later. So appreciate you breaking that down for families, because Hyatts aren't in every country, but also a lot of people are traveling in different countries like Europe. Sometimes there's fire codes for how many people can stay in a room. Are there any advanced strategies for booking multiple rooms or maximizing family stays within Hyatts?
One of the things I can think of is leveraging Hyatt's guest of honor benefit. You can book rooms for families. You can book. So if you have a globalist status, you have the option to do guest of honor. The way that works is that you want to you need points to book that. So if you're pre-planning with somebody, let's say somebody who does not have that status, and you want to book it for them, they can either earn points or they can buy points from Hyatt, from points.com for Hyatt. They also tend to run promotions sometimes where you get 30% off the rate. So that's a good value. I've done that in the past. You get good value for buying points. Or sometimes they offer more bonus points for the same amount of price. So if you have those points, you can transfer them. Hyatt offers free transfer of points. You just fill out a form and then email it to one of the customer service, and they will go ahead and process that. It takes about up to 2 weeks, I would say. So pre-plan it. Once you have those points, you can actually do a guest of honor booking for folks who want to kind of join with. If it's your family or somebody else, you can do that and take advantage of the globalist benefit. There's also points per cash option. So folks who don't have a status, but they don't want to spend either more points or they don't want to spend more cash, they can do points plus cash option to do the redemptions. Um, and then there's also options for smaller boutique hotels, like we have Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we have JDV. These are part of the hotel, Hyatt's hotel collection, where they can take advantage of those and still earning the Hyatt points. So
Do you
those
feel
are the
those
things I would
ones?
recommend.
Do you feel that Mr. and Mrs. Smith or those ones are worth it?
It depends. It depends. I've stayed a couple of places in Palm Springs. There was a place that my wife wanted to stay. I think it was can't remember the name, but it was one of the resorts that she wanted to stay back in the day. And I said, I'm not sure. It's not a Hyatt. But then when it was acquired, and Hyatt acquired Miss and Mrs. Sit, and then said, okay, you know what, we're going to use. And then I'm looking at, oh look, your hotel just showed up. Let's book it. We stayed there. You won't get all the Hyatt globalist perks. Like sometimes someone even offer you breakfast. They're not guaranteed suite upgrades, so that's always a struggle. They don't value like the way they do at the other Hyatts, like Thompson. Yes, JDV. These are the other hotel bar. They do value your status, but when it comes to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it just depends on the location.
Okay.
Um, so you just have to do your own research. Call ahead of time. Hey, look, I have an explorer status. I have this status. What are my benefits? Like ask them directly rather than asking the person over the phone at the Hyatt customer service, because then you will be able to know exactly what you will get when you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, we're staying at the Thompson down in Cabo for our 1 year anniversary here in March. So we're
Okay.
excited. Yeah, we're excited for that. I've heard really, really good things.
Okay. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other advanced lesser known strategies that people overlook or that you've, put into place?
In terms of finding an
Just hide in general. Any hacks that you've done and tried and that have worked for you?
the only time which I mentioned already, that I sometimes tend to use that points buying strategy, because they send out emails at least every other quarter. I've seen that they have some really good values, because usually people say, don't buy points, don't do this, don't buy miles. But the value that comes out is great because if you have a stay coming up, for instance, you want to rather, I'll give an example of the Tokyo, the Grand Hyatt. The cost of that room was almost $1,500, and he needs 45,000 points. You can buy, um, if Hyatt tends to offer 30% bonus, you can end up buying anywhere from 60 to 70,000 points for like $1,200. So that you can leverage that. Like, okay, do you want to spend $1,500 times two, which is $3,000, or do you want to spend like $1,200 and get like close to 2 night stay at
Yeah.
the Grand Hyatt? So you can justify that way in terms if you don't want to spend too much. And just buy the points. The points are instant once as soon as you purchase it. I've also noticed that points.com is part of the Rakuten rewards now. So you can actually get some um, Amex points if
Oh,
you're
nice.
registered your Amex. So you can double dip that way and get those points in and instantly go ahead and book the Hyatt, uh, that expensive Hyatt that you want to stay at. So that's just one of the examples I can kind of think of at the moment. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, no, and I think it's a great breakdown because you're really just buying stuff at a discount, right? If you don't have
Right.
the points, it's like, well, this is an opportunity to buy it at less. I might as well do it. I was going to spend it anyways, and I can get a discounted rate if I don't have those points or I want to use those points, to fly business. Yeah, and then like you said, you can double dip with Rakuten, going into your account profile and changing it instead of cash back to Amex membership rewards and soon, hopefully built. So then, right? So
Hopefully.
then,
Yeah.
so
I
then
know.
it's
Keep the
even
fingers
more Hyatt
crossed.
points. So you're double dipping with Hyatt points.
I
Yeah,
know. I know.
I'm I'm
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that. I've been checking Rakuten to see when
I
when
know. Me
when that's
too.
going to pop up.
Hopefully January. That's I'm hoping when they bring in the new cards and all that. So.
Yes. Yes. No, very, very true. Any other bucket list or just top value properties from Hyatt? I know you mentioned, a couple near you, and you mentioned the one you're staying in Tokyo. Any that are like, hey, if you're going to, ball out, I'd suggest staying at this one or one that you've stayed at.
So I um I I wanted to stay at the Park Hyatt Tokyo. Unfortunately, it's closed because it's not going to open until we come back. So that's a little bit saddening. Alila Ventana Big Sur again. If you have never been there, put it on your list. If you're within the United States, put that on your list and check points availability every single day. Trust me, when you go there, when you experience it, you want to come back.
All
It's
right.
that kind of great place, I would say, because we go there at least twice a year and we're kind of hooked up. Like, yes, I expect a lot more from them when I go there because I'm a globalist, but even a person with just a low end status, like they'll enjoy that because it's an all inclusive, everything is included. So really, you may not get the best room, but still the service is still amazing. The place itself is amazing. Everything else is good about it. So don't hold yourself back just because you don't have that globalist status. Um, Park Hyatt Maldives is on my list. I haven't been there yet, so that is something I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to staying at the Park Hyatt Zanzibar because I was born and raised in Tanzania. Um, Back in the day, there was no Park Hyatt, and I wasn't into points and miles. I know which hotel was there in that same location, but then after I moved over here, and then Hyatt took over that property, and they converted to Park Hyatt. Now, guess what? I want to go there.
Yeah.
So that's on my list. We're talking about. I've heard there's a good value of the Hyatt Place in Bangkok. I know a lot of people say sometimes that the Hyatt places are not the best, but I actually have experiences some Hyatt places. They actually are really good. I was in one of the Park Hyatts in Germany a few years back, and it was a brand new Hyatt place, and the rooms were so good. They were even better than some of the Hyatt Regencies.
Wow.
So don't underestimate those places, like especially the Hyatt House, Hyatt Place, because some places are really good. I actually saw the Hyatt House in Tokyo, and that house looks really nice. It has a washer and dryer, everything in the room. I just can't seem to get the word availability right now because I wanted to actually book that room so I can actually do a review on it. But from what they're showing, it looks really good. Having a washer and dryer in the room and all that,
That's
especially when you're on
huge.
a long trip. Yeah. So because
That's
typically you find those kind of things in like Vegas and
yeah.
certain places, but this was actually in the room. I'm like, it's good because I've been to the one in Hawaii, and the Hyatt Regency in Honolulu that we tend to go, they have washer and dryers there, but they're like downstairs where you go. It's like their own laundry room. But this one having in the room is something different. So
That's awesome. No, I appreciate you sharing those. And I think the Alila Big Sur just went on my list. I gotta, we got a full trips next year, but that's one that that could be an anniversary trip in a year and a half.
absolutely.
Yeah. So but I have time to plan it. Yeah. My wife probably won't listen to the podcast, so we can surprise her. But no, man, this was great. Ali, really appreciate you coming on. A ton of value here. Appreciate again just the Hyatt deep dive. Where can our listeners find you if they want to learn more?
Yes, they can find me. I'm more active on Instagram at milesandpointsguru.com. I do also have TikToks, same user profile. I have my website, milesandpointsguru.com as well. So those are the three ones that I mainly focus on.
Okay, awesome. Well, we will
Yeah,
link those in the show notes for our listeners. And if this is your first time tuning into the show, make sure you give us a follow or subscribe. That way, you don't miss any upcoming episodes that we put out every week with experts like Ali. And then also make sure you share with a family or friend who's trying to travel more, save more, right? Do it on points and miles. That helps us grow the show as well as reach more people. And then I think he deserves a 5-star review. So make sure you give
thank
them
you.
one, and that continues to help us just continue to bring you more value. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Thanks again for coming on, and we will see you next week.